Hey everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and I haven't done a deck guide in a while, so today we are going to do a deck guide on Galakrond Priest. This deck is done very well at high levels for many players, including myself, Theo, like Xananan, and like plenty of other players. Tic Tac comes to mind. Anyways, it's a very powerful deck, and I thought I'd give at least my thought on how to play it. I don't think a guide can honestly properly give you the best idea of how to play the game, or play the deck, but at least it can give you a starting base on how to get going. So let's do what we usually do here with our deck guides. We are going to start first with the deck strategy, breaking down what the deck wants to do and what its game plan is. Then we will go over the Mulligan guide, what cards to keep in specific matchups. Then we'll talk about deck substitutes, what cards you could consider swapping out depending on the meta, things like that. And then budget options, if there are any. What budget options can you use to try and make the deck work for yourself? So, let's get going with the deck strategy. So, contrary to popular belief, Galakrond Priest is not just a deck that does nothing, bores your opponent to death, and, you eventually win and fatigue, all that stuff. That's more reminiscent of, like Res Priest, which just brings stuff back over and over and kills everything, and you eventually just make your opponent want to uninstall. Galakrond Priest is very different. It's a value deck. It thrives on generating value, whether through invokes, stealing cards like Thought Steal, Madame Lazul, things like that. And then it's a tempo deck. You have your early game cards. You have Disciple of Galakrond. You have some buffs like Apotheosis. You have cards that can swing the game, such as Sethic Veilweaver, which generates spells, and you can buff it and do some crazy stuff. You have Kronks, which can be damage, an AoE, a massive taunt. And one of the best cards in the deck, Murazond, which can just do insane things like steal your opponent's wand, or cast a puzzle box, or copy your opponent's Galakrond, things like that. There's so many things the deck can do. And it's not just a sit back and relax. If you play it that way, you're not going to be very successful. It's a deck where you do need to kill your opponent. And, that's very important. Not, to kill your opponent in a game of Hearthstone. It's crazy. You have your early game strategies like I talked about. You have your mid game with Shield of Galakrond, your Fate Weavers, which can, not only is it a premium status dragon, but it discounts your hand, giving you good options throughout the game. And you have your late game, Galakrond, which generates infinite value with a plethora of random priest minions, which can also generate other cards. You have one of the best board clears in the game, Soul Mirror, a legendary spell that not only can clear the board, but can also steal minions. If they have higher health than attack, they stick around, and you can manipulate that to have your own Tyrion or your own Ysera or cards like that. This deck is a ton of fun to play, and yes, at high levels, it can be very successful, but it's certainly not an easy one to pilot. I am consistently getting better. My win rate keeps going up the more I play the deck, and I believe if you stick to it, it could be that way for you. So, let's start with how to actually try and, pilot the deck. What is the Mulligan strategy? So, I typically break this into 3 categories, and let's start with the first one. Our always keep category. What cards do you always keep regardless of the matchup? Well, you always keep Disciple of Galakrond. It's a 1 mana 1/2 invoke 1-drop. It's the best one play you can make on one. And, it's good against aggro, it's good against control, it's good against slower decks, it's good against everything. And that's it. That is the only card I can honestly say you always keep. That's what I mean about this deck. It's not the most straightforward. So you can't always keep, like, let's say, Shield of Galakrond or Fate Weaver, depending on the matchup. If it's aggressive, you can't really do that. So, yeah. Disciple of Galakrond is the only card I would recommend as an auto keep. You see that card in your opener, keep it. You see 2 of them, keep it. It's really good. And, it helps enable things like your Fate Weaver, your Galakrond, or just give you early plays. You could hit a 2-drop, which is can be very powerful. Because, like I said, at its heart, it still is a bit of a tempo deck. Next, what do you always keep against aggro? These are, I'm going to say these with mainly Demon Hunter in mind. That's the main aggressive deck you're going to come across. You do have, like, Enraged Warrior, but it's not very much an aggro deck. And yeah, like there's just Demon Hunter is kind of your main aggro deck, so basically keep these mulligans in mind that they're only, you know, really strong against Demon Hunter. And against Hunter as well to an extent, but definitely better against Demon Hunter. So first, Breath of the Infinite. It's a 3 mana, deal 2 damage to all minions. But if you're holding a dragon, it's only the enemy minions. You don't really care about the holding the dragon part. You're just keeping this as early removal. Against Demon Hunter, it kills basically every minion that play in the early game, unless they buff it with their 1-drop. And yeah, just really good early removal. Very good keep. Next, we have Shadow Madness. 3 mana spell that you can take a minion with 3 attack or less, and you basically take it and you can attack with it. Again, against Demon Hunter, it's a great answer to like the Satyr where that 4/2 can snowball. We'll use the 2/2 to kill it. Or you just, you know, you take the Battle Fiend and trade it into another minion and all that stuff. Also pretty good against like Face Hunter, Highliner Hunter, as it's a way of potentially taking one of their early beasts or one of their early dragons and trading into another. Can't target Fairy Dragon, that can be an issue, so keep that in mind, but definitely a good keep against aggressive decks. Next we have Penance, just good early removal. The only issue about keeping it, though, in the early game is you're typically not going to get much heal out of it. But quite often, I'll grade it up a little bit. They play Battle Fiend on 1. I'll let them hit once, and then I'll play it on 2 or 3. And especially if I have, like, Breath of the Infinite to follow, I have AoE or whatever, it's pretty good. But it's not, like, probably as auto-keep as the other ones, but definitely something to consider. And again, against Hunter, you can remove most of their 1 and 2 drops. But again, the healing, you might miss out on it. But if you don't remove the minion, you're probably going to take more damage than 3 anyways. That's kind of always been my argument about keeping it. And lastly, we have Mind Flayer Karsh. Again, I can never pronounce this one right, but it's the 3 mana 3/3 Priest Legendary that has a battle cry of basically giving yourself a death rattle of summoning a copy of the minion on board. Basically, you play it early game against aggro, and it's good. Even if it's like a 1/2 or 2/2 on it. It's just very good to get that board presence, because, you know, you can struggle to fight for board if you don't hit your Disciple, right? So you play this, you get a little bit of early tempo. If they can't remove it, or remove both parts, you can always, like, Apotheosis it. And then all of a sudden you have a lifesteal minion on board, and it's a whole different problem. So Mind Flayer is definitely a card I don't think many people think to keep, but you definitely should against the aggressive decks. Next, what are the cards to keep against the slower decks? As we are a value-generating machine, this deck does do well against the slower decks a lot of the time. And your mulligan, again, there's a lot of options that you can keep in your early game against these decks. And for me, I always keep Thoughtsteal. Thoughtsteal against Rogue, Priest, Mage, just always good. You steal ridiculous stuff, especially against Rogue. I feel like I get lackeys, I could get like Togwall, I can get their invoke cards, which are really good. I can even hit their Galakrond. It's just insane. And on 2, you're typically not going to have a good play. So I always like keeping Thoughtsteal. Next, I will keep Madame Luzul, the 3 mana 3/2 legendary that you take a copy of a card from your opponent's hand. And again, just really good value, and you know, you get a body on the board, they got to deal with it, but you get insight on what's going on in their hand. You have an insight of what's coming up, which can also be valuable. And again, your turn 3 plays are relatively limited, so it's good to have that on curve. Next, I'll keep Shield of Galakrond, the 5 mana 4/5 invoke taunt. Just the solid mid-game minion. It's an invoke, you get some value. It's not the easiest thing to remove for slower decks, and I just feel like it's a solid keep. Then we have Fate Weaver, the 4 mana 3/6 dragon. If you've invoked twice, discount your hand by 1. It's just a solid turn 4 play, regardless of the battle cry not going off. You can again Apotheosis it, and all of a sudden you have a 5/9 lifesteal minion on board, which is very good. And again, if you hit that early discount, you can just do broken things. So definitely a solid keep. And then I have 2 like matchup specific keeps I will keep in my mulligan. First will be Galakrond, mainly against Priest and probably Mage. But you want Galakrond, especially in the Priest mirror, you need that value. You need to be generating that value. If your opponent has Galakrond and you don't, a lot of times you're just going to fall behind because you only have so many invokes. You only have so many value generators, and if they're hitting that button every turn, it's a nightmare. So I like keeping Galakrond, but primarily against Priest and Mage. And lastly, I will keep Murozond against Rogues. Murozond is insane against Rogue. People always be like, how do you beat Rogue with this deck? I never beat it. Murozond is a great way of doing it. It curves very well into quite often their wand turn. You play Murozond and you copy the wand, you almost always win. You get an 8/8, you draw 3 cards, and they cost 0, and your deck is very top-heavy. You're going to get some good stuff. And you can also copy their Galakrond, which you can get like lackeys, and then your Kronks can be active and things like that. It's just insanely good keep against Rogue. And I have done it every time, and I'm over 60% against Rogue, playing a deck that I keep being told can't beat Rogue. So it's not too bad, isn't it? Alright, next, what are some deck replacements? What are some substitutes you can do depending on the meta? Well, if you're facing a lot of aggression, especially a lot of Demon Hunter, you can consider adding in cards like Holy Nova. It's another AoE to deal with their 2 health minions, and it's some additional healing. Just solid all around. Some lists still run it. A lot used to. I don't run it anymore. I find it's just a little bit overkill. But if you're running into a lot of Demon Hunter, it's definitely recommended. You can also add in a Moarg Artificer for the extra AoE range. It turns your Breath into a Flame Strike, and it turns your Penance into heal for 6, which is very valuable, and deals 6 damage. So not a bad consideration. If the meta is really slow, and you're facing, like, for some reason, like Res Priest or Mages, a lot of Mage, you could consider adding a Plague of Death. It's a 9 mana AoE. It's typically too slow against almost all matchups, but against, like, Spell Druid, Mage, and things like that, it can be very effective. But typically this is more of a card you want to, like, randomly generate through a Renew effect or a Sethic Bellweaver, so keep that in mind. I don't recommend it, but if you really want to, you could possibly add one. And then some people have considered and have run Wild Pyromancer. This card can be additional AoE, and when comboed with Apotheosis, it's AoE plus healing, so you can definitely consider it. I've experimented with it. I've found it to be kind of meh, not great. I rather just like Sethic Veilweaver instead, but you can consider it as a substitute, or replacement. And lastly, what are some budget replacements? Honestly, again, this is a very expensive deck, and all of the legendaries are basically core. Like, you don't want to not run Solmir, or Kronks, or Murozond. Like, these are cards you just need to have, but if there is a replaceable one, I would probably say Madame Lazul is not vital to the deck. It's pretty good. It's good value, but not vital. So you could put in, like, one of the aggro options I suggested, like Wild Pyro or a Moarg Artificer, something along those lines. But honestly, this deck is pretty well refined, and there's not a ton of flex room, especially when it comes to the expensive cards. They're just really good, and sadly, I can't really give you replacements on that. So I've included a couple of games to demonstrate how to play the deck, how the deck does, so hope you enjoy those. And if you have any questions about the deck or how to play it or any of that stuff, please let me know in the comments. I'm always happy to answer, and to the best of my ability. This is not the easiest deck in the game to play. It certainly has its polarized matchups, both good and bad. But if you keep to it, you keep learning how to optimize your plays, this deck can do spectacular things. Maybe even getting you that rank 1 legend one day. Or, just hit legend. That's always good. So if you like the guide, please like and subscribe. It helps the channel a bunch. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great day, and stay salty, my friends. We want Highlander to see play, so let's give them the most broken card we can think of. And it's random, so you can't even play around it. It's very frustrating. Oh well, what can you do? I'll just complain about it, that's all. Would I say Zephyrus? Not really, because it's It's what you call it. It's a limited pool. It's random, but you can influence it. You can make good plays about it. So no, I wouldn't put it in the same category. Just gonna put this on the board. Even though it never does anything, because, yeah, but make him use the coin at least. I don't like the design of Zephyrus, but it's not as brutal of a terrible design choice. Demon Hunter's bad design is in the fact that every card is fucking overstated and overpowered. That's my objection to Demon Hunter. Everything is overpowered. Everything is overtuned for I don't know what reason. Like, everything is upside on top of upside in the class. My favorite Hearthstone meta is Ungoro. Every class is playable. Every class had a counter. I think the game would just be a lot better if Demon Hunter wasn't a thing. They really just fucked up bad on it, in my opinion, but it's just my opinion.
Don't keep your thoughts to yourself.
I mean, I guess I do it. I just don't love it. I want the draw, but at the same time, like, what does silence do? Ever. Draw one card is not worth 5 health can be the difference sometimes. But, I mean, my hand's awful. And he draws 3 cards and cheats 9 mana, so... I mean, what the fuck can I do? Trying to random him, I guess. As good as I could do. Skull off. Skull time, right? No skull? This is not like my normal opponents. Just the 6-4? Nothing, okay. So I get a 1. I just play this. It's a body on the board. If he doesn't top deck Skull, we can win. So I took the healing, which can come in clutch here. We want you to BG. Who's we? Who the fuck is we? I play BG once in a while off stream, but yeah, I'm not huge on it. Try and set up lethal. I-Beam probably keeps him out of range. He's probably got the freeze too, but we'll Soul Mirror next turn. A lot of streamers switched. I mean, the BG streamers do better than ladder streamers, for sure. I mean, ladders is pretty awful. Alright, so Shadow Madness, I've already used both. I have Apotheosis for lethal. Renew potentially. That does not do it. I could go for the power of random instead of Soul Mirror. Soul Mirror doesn't really take much off the board. It actually takes less off than this. So you might as well do it. Wow, what a rigged game. Holy shit. Flips on my side today. Miss lethal. Yeah, the buff to Holy Nova cost me lethal there. I think it's okay, though. It's extended BM lethal. And people just associate, to an extent, fast with him, but kind of unfairly. So he's trying to get that stigma off, that's all. So much toxicity. Honestly, in Standard, not really. In Wild, yes, but... Fine in Standard, there's Jay who's awful, and there's not really anyone else that comes to mind. Like, Jay is just a horrible piece of crap. But I can't think of anybody else. Like, there's people that snipe and stuff, but... Like, who gives a shit? I don't know. This play is weak, but... This is a tempo match. If I played Runeterra, only in the beta. Only in the beta so far. I do want to play the full release. I just haven't got to it. Alright, well, make the... Ooh, Penance. This is still just better. There's not a lot of good stuff to copy. He's Highlander, right? Being sniped is a horrible sense. I mean, you get used to it, but it's frustrating. It's always frustrating. Plague Fridge, thank you for the follow. Like, I have my issues with the Rogue main, because I think he's a little bit like he's a coward and stuff, but he's not like a toxic person or anything. Like, I wouldn't want, like, the guy, like, I think Jay shouldn't be allowed to compete or even play Hearthstone. But, like, the Rogue main, I think he's kind of a dick, but, you know, he's entitled to be a dick, I guess. But, yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't throw him in that category. He's just kind of a delusional dude. Or he's playing a character. I still can't tell. Because I can't honestly believe somebody would actually hold a lot of the opinions he has. Without being just trolling. Just keep playing for tempo here. It's randomly generated, so... Just keep making things awkward. I'll hopefully get to play some Runeterra off stream at some point. Zeph Shadow Madness is annoying, for sure. But I can answer it back, and then he doesn't use Zeph for better reasons. Who's trolling? I don't know, I feel like the Rogue main has to be. Like, the things he says all the time. I don't think anyone can be that delusional. But then again, maybe he is. I don't know. It's an interesting one. I'd love to have more debates, but I got blocked the second I tried to actually debate him. But it is what it is. Alright. He's holding a random legendary and 2 lackeys. Do I really want to Lazul that? Or play these while I can? Those are pretty good. Oh, these are insane. I love that I actually get good cards. He's obviously playing a character. That's what I keep thinking. But somebody asked him about that, and he said, no, I'm not. So I don't know what to think. But whatever. I just don't want him, like, talking down to people on Twitter. That was my only objection. I don't care about whatever takes you have, whether I disagree with them or not. It was literally just him talking down to somebody because he was just, like, going all high and mighty, and I didn't like that. It rubbed me the wrong way. I don't really care about anything else. Like, I do that, I meme on the whole, like, Edwin is a tutu, but who the fuck doesn't? People meme on me for being a fucking raving lunatic asshole. Because why wouldn't you? Alright, Shadow Step's a bitch if he has it. So I get 4 mana. I guess that works. This feels bad to waste this. He just daggers it. I could use Lazul and rush it. But what if I get a... I mean, I can't really get... Okay, let's do this first so we see get Togwoggle. Oh, he's got the balance card. I guess I take the prime that he got randomly. And I really don't want him to Shadow Step this, so... You only paid... I mean, if you actually paid attention to the gameplay, you see how fucking awful at the video game I am, and you'll just want to not watch, so I get that. I can't deal with Dragon Queen at all, by the way. We don't have any answers. And he probably was holding Tog, and I low-rolled that, but... What can you do? Don't have Murzon for the wand either. Oh, just random into random. Okay. What was Kargath? They get Dragon Sword, which gives them more random. It's pretty fun. And random. Because that's Rogue's class identity now. Just a bunch of random shit. Pretty fucking rad, dude. Well, he's getting spells here, or draw. Not much I can do about it. Yeah, I don't really have good answers here. I was hoping it would be one of the minion interactive ones. Unfortunately, it wasn't. Yeah, Priest identity is also random, and Mage's class identity is also random. You'll note the theme is it's all fucking random. Good order, by the way. Shaman's identity is dog shit. That's fair. That's a fair observation. I don't disagree with that one. Wish I saved the lackey for this. Oh well. I hated the play, but maybe saving the lackey would have been better. 767 Veni Natalia. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. My hero power. My hand is shit. I couldn't get the heal in this turn. That sucks. Yeah, I don't think I can win this. Our hand is just too clunky. It's a bad matchup, of course, but I do okay against Rogue. I'm like 30 and 14, but it's more against like the whatchamacallit rogues. Galakrond Rogue. Unless they like high roll their random dragon lackeys, it's usually manageable. But yeah, we just have a classic priest hand that's just clunky, like they all are. Got a playable spell. Or a minion. Okay. He would have played a Dragon Queen last turn. Does he have a Lackey in hand? He does. He would have played that as well. So I think it's Eviscerate. One thing that's nice is Leroy's not in the game, so you don't have to get fucking cheesed every single game. Tempo Storm says Gala Priest is a trash deck. Tempo Storm actually prints opinions anymore? Interesting. It's not that great. It's not a tier 1 deck, but it can do well. You have to play it really well to do well. Like, look at Xananan or whatever. He's been rank 1 forever with it. Racy's done well with it. Theo's done well with it. I know No Hands has done well with it. He runs that card. Okay. This guy loves to rope. Played in a Soul Mirror pretty hard. Doesn't really matter though. Why is this like rope every fucking turn with this deck? It's ridiculous. 4 attack minions against a priest is pretty keck W. This can't do anything. So do this. Do that. I'm gonna do this. Pretty awful though. I can't beat Rogue as priest. Well, I'm 30 and 14 against rogues as priest, so stats would say otherwise. It's certainly difficult, and especially when they're Highlander, because they're just pure greed, but, you know, you try your best. You got a gifted sub? Grats, dude. Always nice to get free stuff from generous people. The Papa Ken hooked you up, I believe. Been very generous. 50 gifted subs this month alone. The madman. I don't even think he's here. He just showed up, gave some subs, and dipped.
Aggro decks are some of the hardest decks to play in Hearthstone.
Randomly resubscribed because random.
There's no way he's leaving that up, right? Looks like it's happening. Poggers. Unfortunately, I can't really take advantage of it because again, I'm a priest. Give me like a 1 or 2 drop. Alright. So this will go... This is 3. Wait, why does this cost 3? Oh, because of that. And this will go down to 3 and 1, so I can't even do it. Fucking awful play, but I don't know what else to do. But Stige, is it Stitch? Stitch, thank you for the 2 months randomly resubscribed because of random. Well, there's no better reason to sub than random reasons, so thank you for randomly doing that randomly. I appreciate it. Random. I'm randomly dying to fucking nothing. Feels random, man. Can I get a renew? Or the Kargath Prime would be sick. Ugh. I need shit on the board. Can't hear a power there. I mean, I'm just dying. I have 2 renews. I have the Prime. I have Kronks. Got stuff. Got a second try. Alright, sounds good. This year Hearthstone has been so bad, makes you think how the next expansion will be. Yeah, probably not better. I'd love to say it'll be better, but they never really seem to top themselves. They kind of do the opposite, but hopefully the next one's good. I'm trying to be marginally optimistic. I don't know. I mean, what reach does he have? I don't really think he has any, but I'm at 7 with no healing in hand, and I don't have the board. I can get a random taunt randomly. Alright, so we do this. And we do that. And then we do that. Then we kind of have the board. He never top decks Galakrond or Dragon Queen here, and we're fine. It's annoying, but whatever. I don't like that it gets the health. But we're randomly going to top deck a Murazon, and then we're going to be happy. I don't know. I have so many good cards to draw, I just can't find any of them. Basically, just renew. I want renew really bad. So low on health. What is he? He's got one random card. It's a Reborn. No, he played the Reborn card. Nice. Random. Trying to smork him. He's at 12. He sells Galakrond and Dragon Queen. Kronks is kind of bad too. Because now he gets his Galakrond. We have 6, 10, 11. We're 1 off. Fuck. I could flick my 2-2 and get a potential lethal. Playing a control secret mage deck that runs if a secret is in play, deal 6 damage minion. Am I better off running fireballs instead? 1 mana cheaper. A control secret mage. Probably. I mean, it's better tempo to play the Cloud Prince, but if you're control, I've never heard of control secret mage. Maybe. Probably more, but yeah. I'm not doing the speed run now. We retired that run. We're going to do another speedrun tutorial next week. But as it stands right now, we'll wait till next week. But we're going to cut out, like we're going to do, alright, so there goes the Eviscerate. And he heals me with this line, but I'm less likely to be able to kill him. I don't want to flick his Kronks, man. Because then I flick my Kronks. Oh. Who needs to? Okay, well. He's got some really good stuff in his deck. He has Dragon Queen. He has, Togwoggle. He also has shit, too, but it's my opponent. Yeah. We probably lose now. At least I can flick one of the dragons, maybe. I don't even know what that is. A shoot lackey? Use a 0 mana Tog to go with it? I don't know. That seems about right. Still has Togwoggle left. Yeah, both time rips, both deaths were gone. But I kept him alive. And now he top decks Togwoggle and gets a crown. Yep. Still lost this game, right? I mean, there's not a lot of good neutral taunt options, though. There's Hogger. What else is there? We were supposed to look for one. He's dead. I want to look. Is it only Hogger that you can get?